Murphy, and I'm from Pepperell, Mass. My family, Irish Catholic and French Canadian Catholic, but we weren't practicing. The only time I attended Mass was, maybe during Christmas or during a funeral or a wedding. I did end up attending CCD, catechism classes when I was 12 years old, and nothing against that group at the time, but it just didn't click. Something didn't click. So I had a lot of questions. Okay, God, who are you? And one of my friends was a Christian, and I ended up going to the youth group, and I said, wow, what these people have, I want. In a time of turmoil with my family, my mom got remarried. My dad was dying. He did eventually pass away from cancer from Agent Orange. So again, I had a lot of questions, and felt a void in my life. And I've come to hear the gospel. I've come to hear the love of Christ, and I said, there's something there. There really is. But always the question in my mind was, what is the church? There is, the Baptists down the street, and the Methodists over there, and the Congregations over there, and the Catholics over there, and the Orthodox over here, and the Pentecostals over here. Yet there's one Lord, one faith, one baptism. What's going on? Why do we not agree? I was constantly reading, studying, praying, and thanks be to God, I had a lot of really great Christian friends, Bible-believing Christians. We studied, the scriptures. We prayed. I got involved in youth ministry, became a youth pastor, but the more I studied, the more I prayed. The more I studied, the more I prayed. What is the church? And to be honest, I never became a member of a church. I remember leading a missions trip to Trinidad in my late 20s, and it was really good because they had to ask us. They had to interview us, the elders of the church, to make sure, okay, I'm about to represent this church going as short-term missions. And they said, how come you're not a member? And that was a really good question. And then they said, well, at least write a statement of faith. And I did, and I went to Trinidad, and it was a great experience. But again, I never, due to my conscience, I could never say, okay, I'm going to be a member of this church. I just couldn't. Because what is the church? Is it just someone who states that they follow Jesus? Maybe a little bit. Maybe there's something there. But what is the church? And Christ came and established a church. What does it look like? If you ever read the book, you heard of the book, More Than a Carpenter, Josh McDowell. Who else is there? There's Case for Christ, Lee Strobel. Phenomenal, really good apologetics in terms of Jesus. And one of the things I came to when I was in Germany in the military, was Jesus really who he claimed to be? Because where I come from, them are fighting words. When someone claims to be, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man can go to the Father but through me, that goes against relativism. That goes against our modern, postmodern culture. He either is who he said he was, or he was the whole Lord, liar, lunatic thing. C.S. Lewis talks about it in Mere Christianity. And a lot of people in America, in our postmodern culture, they want to be spiritual, just not be religious. And yet we have this thing called the Catholic Church, and it has a lot of claims. So we can't just say, because it's funny, sometimes I'll talk to a Protestant brother and he'll say, oh, you're Catholic, well, that's nice. I'm like, well, is it? The church makes some very strong claims, and we have to deal with those claims. At least I had to in my search for truth. And that's, at the end of the day, we search for truth. Truth is bigger than we are. And I had to come to the conclusion that, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and he established a church, and he bestowed authority upon the apostles. And I better keep my ears open and start listening. So it's, like I said, it's been a little bit of a difficult journey, for my wife as well. There was a little bit of freedom in being your own pope as an evangelical. At the same token, it didn't work. It wasn't true freedom. In my Protestant days, I felt like it was in a dating relationship with Christ. A lot of passion there, a lot of excitement, but I felt like my days of approaching into the Catholic faith, it was the consummation, it was the marriage, it was the bride of Christ, and it goes a lot deeper than that, but basically receiving the Eucharist, and it was a marriage, it was a completion of what I've been looking for, and I can finally say I'm a member of a church, the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, and it's a blessing.